Hello, hello, everybody. Let's take this down just a little bit. I'm very sorry for today's late start. Oh boy, why is this so perceptive to the rest of my workspace this time? Usually, it's zoomed out enough. Huh. So let's zoom in. There we go. All right. Oh, knowing my luck, Facebook probably did an update that I'm not aware of. It always seems to happen. If you are stopping by, drop a quick comment just to say hello. Hope everyone is having a wonderful Saturday. Just getting my iPad all situated. All right. Let's see, move this up just a little bit. And like I said, if you are stopping by, drop a quick comment just to say hello. I'm getting everything all set up lighting-wise in my studio. Trying to brighten things up a little bit. There we go, just a little extra light. All right, everybody, I'm just gonna grab some water. And let's get into a little bit of crafting. So, first things first, I hope everyone is doing well. Thank you for joining me for my first live for the month of September. You might notice my voice is a little congested today. I've been kind of battling a little bit of just not feeling the greatest at home, but I am on the mend, doing better, and obviously good enough to be doing a Facebook Live with y'all. The way my body always likes to handle these sort of colds is that congestedness in my voice does tend to linger for a little extended period of time. So I might be taking a couple more water breaks than usual just to make sure that all of my talking instruments are nice and hydrated, so just bear with me for that. But we are going to be creating a card today using the Kindred Posse stamp set. And I'm also going to pull in another stamp set as well to help create a background for us. So we're going to get into that in a moment. But I thought it would be fun. I couldn't resist coloring up myself from this set. I had to do it. And I always look for excuses to use images of myself. So I'm like, you know what? Let's do this for a Facebook Live. So we're going to color up this guy. We're going to get him all ready for a little bit of a Western background. And how about we dive into some Copic marker coloring? So, I'm sitting down in my chair, and let's start with some E04. So I'm going to put some E04 down, and I'm just going to kind of do it anywhere there would be shadow. So I'm doing it along the bottom of the hat. Just like that. I also just recently cleaned and refilled some of my markers. So like this E04 is working wonderfully. Just do under his nose. Just like that. And then I guess I'll do this a little bit under the chin. Just like that. All right. If you're dropping by, drop a quick comment to say hello so I can chat with you. Otherwise, you're just going to get my, yapping. That's okay, though. We all like the yap. So I'm just going to go with my E11, start bringing those colors out. Go down here as well. Next color is going to be E21, which is Soft Sun. This is just kind of my standard, what I call my Caucasian skin tone blend. Pretty standard on the market, what people use. So this is E21 is my third color. Now I have stamped out my image in blackout ink by Ink on 3, and I'm coloring on Copic Express It paper. Just like that. Now we'll go with some E00. I have a needy dog standing next to me that clearly needs attention. She just went outside too, so I don't know what she needs. Just gonna kind of keep on adding these colors in. You can actually already tell how helpful it was that I cleaned all of my skin tone markers, because they're just functioning a lot more smoothly than what I was used to. Keep that in mind for the next time, so I don't wait as long. Honey, you gotta go somewhere. She's been right next to me all day. This is E000. This is probably the marker that I've had to buy the most amount of ink refills for, because I think I use it the most. Now we'll go back in. Hello, Sherry and Kristen. Thanks for stopping by. I'm going with some E04. Once again, just gonna keep on bringing that shadow out. I'm doing my process of coloring twice, and I always like to explain it. I know a lot of you have been in my lives already, so you've heard me say it before, so I apologize for being repetitive. But when I say coloring twice, it's my process of coloring up an image essentially 2 times in a row, from dark to light and then dark to light once again. That's typically how I color up almost everything. There are some exceptions to the rule in my rule book, not that there are actually rules, such as hair and such as coloring up very, very light colors. But for the most part, actually for the most part, I'd like to add a little bit more shadow down here. But for the most part, I will color up my image twice from dark to light. And this allows me to get a really good blend of alcohol markers. But in addition to that, it allows me to get a really nicely saturated image. By saturated, I mean I get those really deep and intense colors that I think really sort of add to that finished look and make your image a little bit more striking. Now, one of the downsides of doing my coloring twice method, of course, is the time commitment. It does take twice the amount of time. So keep that in mind. If you're trying to get something colored up in a pinch, that's not necessarily going to work in terms of a quick card. But if you're in a situation where maybe you're like what I do, I like to kind of color up things in batches where like maybe I don't really have any cards I'm immediately working on, but I'm like, you know what? I got this new stamp set. Why don't I work on coloring up the images now for later? And that way you have them on hand. You've spent the time to get everything colored up with them, so you can pop them on a card when you're ready to, and even if you need it in a pinch, you can do it then too. So I've done that with a handful of recent stamp sets that have gone out this year. I did like the insect stamp set. I have them all colored up and set to the side, and they're all so pretty that I don't know when I want to use them. What else have I colored up this year? Emotional Roller Coaster, I colored that up entirely. I could really think about what other ones. Oh, I did the Part of a Pride and then the add-on that came out as well. So that was added to it. Let's do R22 and R20. So R22 for the blush. We're just going to kind of trace the cheek. Just like this. Just to add a little bit of blush. I do like adding warmth to the cheeks. I think it makes your image look a little bit more lively. And I'm going to go in with my E000 and just sort of blend it all out. Just like this. Oh, and I'm already recognizing that I didn't grab my scissors. Darn it. I'll figure that out when I get to it. They're just closely by. Oh, Fady. Yeah, figure it out. Okay, next let's go ahead and move on to hair. I hate that when I forget something, and now it's going to be riding me where it's at. Oh, Justin. Fun stuff, man. We're going to start with some E49, and I'm just going to kind of work on it, going down the side of my head, like that, and also down the other side. But then I also want to do my beard. I'm going to do some like tick marks. Go in like that. All right, let's do some water. See, now the reason with my scissors that I get a little iffy is because I'm very particular with my scissors, and I have one set of detailed scissors that are my go-to. I used to have two sets. I still technically have two sets, but I only have one that's usable because I used the older set to accidentally cut something that wasn't paper. And let me just tell you something. I never really understood why people got upset about people using their crafting scissors for like something other than their intended use. And then I did this to my scissors, and I'm like, oh my God, never again. Never again. So I hear you. I hear you, and I feel you all. All right. Oh, what did I just do? Just like nosedive the tip of my marker into my thumb. All right. E57. And then let's do E55. And finish with E53. now I'm going to begin the process of coloring this in reverse just to get that hair nice and textured. Now the reason that I like to color my hair in reverse is because when I blend things from light to dark, like I said, it's a blend. I'm blending things into each other. I don't want like stark lines sticking out, but when I color up hair, I do want my hair to stand out. So when I color in reverse, I'm putting the darker colors on top of the lighter colors. So they don't really blend, they just kind of stay on top of it, so I'm not pushing them into each other. So it gives me a really nice textured effects. So keep that in mind for if you're trying to practice your hair coloring. 5'9". All right, just a little bit of texture. I do want to add just a little bit of a lighter brown, just right into this area of hair. Just to kind of darken it just a smidge. There we go. All right, now I want to work on, I'm going to do the hat and the jacket next because I'm going to make the hat and the jacket different colors than the vest and the boots. And I just thought it'd be kind of fun to play with some different grays. So I'm gonna do my hat and my jacket in toner grays. So we're gonna do T7. So we're gonna do T7 to start. Let's see. Let's grab some water. And then we're going to do the jacket. And I thought it would just be fun to play with different colors of the gray because I thought that it would just kind of add a little bit of different detail to the project. Almost like we're working with like different types of leather. I can only imagine because I did ask for this image to be an outlaw. So I can only imagine it as an outlaw. This is all got to be some like black leather trench coat, you know, make him the bad boy. Kind of fill them in. And then we'll do his jacket. Keep on coloring him in. Do the side of his collar. Just like that. Okay. Let's see if I miss any comments. Hello, Leanne. Hope you're having a good day. Thank you for stopping by. We're going to do some T3. do it on my second go around. I also wanted the tees to be the belt color. But luckily, the belt is so small that I can color it once and it's not going to really matter. My T3 sounds like it is in need of a refill. We'll get it soon. I've sort of taken like a 10-day break period from crafting. Like, not actively like take a break, but I've just had, it's been busy lately. I was at the Chicago Playdate that Kindred did 2 weeks ago, and I did some coloring and I did a lot of organizing there. And I got to meet a couple new people, see a lot of familiar faces. It's always a good time. And then after that, I came home because it was a holiday weekend, got back to my house and just started to kind of work on some other stuff. Just kind of since I had like a weekend of crafting, I'm like, you know what? Let's focus on non-crafting things. I was between design team commitments at the moment, so I didn't have anything that immediately had to be done, which I thought was nice. Starting the process of coloring up these toner grays twice. So I'm kind of just trying to jump back into things a little bit. See, and I organized a bunch of stuff, put them in pockets and magnetic sheets. I got a new shelving system in my craft space. And now I'm like, great, let's craft. And then there's more stuff to organize now, and I'm like, ugh. Just one of those things. Not that I lost any mojo, at least I don't think I did. But just kind of feeling everything out. All right, and then lastly, we'll go back to that T3. A care class for Copic markers. We could do that sometime. Do you want to know the bad part is I feel like I would be a hypocrite if I was the one who did it because I'm not the best at it. But if y'all wanted some tips and tricks from what I know, I could always do that. Maybe it would encourage me to be better about it. Because I do it, I just don't do it regularly. But here's a quick rule of thumb. If your marker starts to squeak, it's usually a sign you need a refill soon. So I look at getting that done. See, I hear that squeak, squeak. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Oh my goodness, I forgot to collect the belts again. Y'all, someone don't let me talk anymore. Oh my gosh. We'll go back and fix that real quick. All right, we'll go in, just with some T7. It's really small, so like I said, I don't even have to worry much about blending. All right, so let's put my T markers back. And then next, let's work on the other grays that I pulled, which are my neutral grays. And we're gonna do the vest. This is N7. And the boots. I struggled because I really thought I wanted to do brown boots for him, but I settled on black boots. I feel like I had to do black boots. All right. Oh, look at me just slightly coloring outside the lines. Isn't that lovely? That's okay. All right, go back in with some N7. See, what I like about Copic markers, though, is, in my opinion, not that I'm encouraging you to be sloppy, because sloppy is maybe the wrong word to use, but if you are mindful about coloring in the lines as best as you can, even when you go outside the lines, it's usually pretty easy to correct. Because these markers are meant to blend, so you can kind of blend those areas into each other. Okay. Let's see. Put these back. Let's work on I have some reds that I pulled. I wanted him to have a red band around his hat along with a red bandana. This is just some R37. Oh, darn it. I have to blend that out. Like that. I almost went with the R2s, but I thought it was just a little too vibrant. So I pulled in the R3s. I think they're a little bit more, there's a little bit more of a subtlety to them. They're not as bright as the R2s are. Let's go back in with some R39. R35. And R32. All right, I'm going to pull back in really quickly my T3 marker just to blend out an area that I got some of my red ink in. See if I can kind of briefly touch it up. All right, let's work on his jeans, and then we're getting close to being done coloring him. So we're gonna do my standard jean blend, which is gonna start with B99. I'm gonna do B97. B95. My stomach grumbling a little bit. That's okay. I'm gonna eat some. B9-3. And B9-1. Let's color up the jeans again. We're gonna go with some B9-9. B9-7. B9-5. B9-3. That one looks a little grody. Let me clean you off. And B9-1. Both of y'all need a little bit of help. Here we go. Okay, we're getting there. Work on his belt buckle. We're gonna do some Y26 and Y21. We'll check comments when I'm all done with him. We'll do Y26. Y21. I had to have a gold belt buckle. And then, all right, not too much left. We're gonna do, I had a brown holster. E47. And E44. I'm just going to kind of color in what's left over with this C3 color. Awesome. And I just got to do a little something under his handkerchief. We're going to do some T3. Just kind of color in, and I think he is all done. All right, so we've got him all situated. I'm gonna do a quick look to see if I can find my scissors, which I think they may be in the other room. Let's see, can I quickly grab them? The answer is yes, I can quickly grab them. So let's go ahead and fussy cut him out. So let me just check. He looks pretty good around his border, so I don't have to worry about too much cleaning up with a gel pen. But I may still go in and add some gel pen accents after I'm done fussy cutting. Just kind of trim him out. God, these scissors cut like butter. gliding along, getting them all cut out. All right, just make sure his one more boot is nice and cut. Perfect. All right, so we've got him all trimmed out. Do I want to do gel pen accents? Nah, I always am so indecisive. I'm gonna go with no. We're gonna stick without them for today. But let's go ahead. You know what? I'm just noticing my camera looks a little crooked. Sorry about that. That was just bothering me. Okay. Let's get into some background blending. So, I am going to pull out a sticky mat. This is a paper inking palette from Picket Fence Studios. I'm going to put this right on top of my Kindred Stamps glass mat, just like that. Oh, no, I'm all crooked anyways. Dear Lord. I'm so sorry, y'all. Here I am thinking I'm fixing stuff, and then it's not, so. Let's see. There we go. That's a little better. So I'm going to go in, and I have a piece of 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 Bristol Smooth Strathmore Bristol Smooth Series 300 cardstock. And we are going to blend up a background using 3 Distress ink colors. Now, I do want to talk about ink blending while I'm going through the process of this. We're going to start with Crackling Campfire Distress ink. And what I want to talk about is you don't see me use distress inks to blend up backgrounds often. Usually you see me pull in oxides. Now, the reason I decided to do distress inks was because I wanted to have a dye ink background because they dry quicker, and I'm going to be doing some stamping on top of this, just a little bit. Like I said, we're going to be doing some scene building. It's going to be easy scene building today. Not a lot of time is going to be needed, but I wanted to use an ink that wasn't going to stay wet on my paper for a while, and distress ink gets into your paper more quickly than an oxide does. I also like the idea of using an ink that was going to give me a little bit more of a vibrant color for my background. Oxide inks, don't get me wrong, absolutely there are ways that you can get like vibrant colors from them, but if you look at their counterparts, the distress ink is always more vibrant than the dye ink. That's the same thing. I just said the exact same thing. I'm sorry. The distress ink is always going to be more vibrant than the oxide. It's just how it is. If you compare Crackling Campfire Distress to Crackling Campfire Oxide, just the regular distress ink is going to give you a more vibrant color. All right, so just kind of going in, trying to blend this out as best as I can. We're going to fidget with this a little bit. All right. So now that I've got Crackling Campfire done, I'm going to pull in my second color, which is going to be Wild Honey. I always kind of struggle with Wild Honey because I never really know if it's yellow or orange. And it's not really, it's right in the middle. But the reason why I'm having that struggle is because I don't have like a between yellow and orange blending tool. I just have yellow or orange when it comes to my blending brushes. And I'm going to talk about blending brushes in a second as well. So I settled that just that Wild Honey is more of an orange than a yellow. I don't know. Argue with me about it, prove me wrong. Not prove me wrong. Oh my gosh, here I am sounding like I want to cause a fight about it. I don't. I want to hear your thoughts. If you think that Wild Honey is more of a yellow than it is an orange, let me know. And maybe I need to use a different tool to blend it out then. But I also was talking with people when I was at the Playdate, and some people were surprised that when I do a Facebook Live, I don't really test my card out in advance. I kind of just come up with the idea and then grab my supplies and execute it. But this was something I did end up testing in advance, and I wanted to test out how I can make my distress inks look good because I don't use them for backgrounds very often. I played around with a couple different papers and a couple different blending tools, and I found that blending brushes worked better than my foam applicators for blending up a background. Why that is, I don't know. I don't really use my blending brushes that much anymore. I like my foam applicators, but I find that for whatever reason that distress inks and dye inks just work really well with brushes, where I feel like oxides work better with the foam tools. At least this is from my findings. You do what you want with it. I'm just a little on the picky side. So, all right, so we've got our first two colors, and we can work on our third, which is Scattered Straw. And I got alcohol marker stained on my glass mat. It's always something. All right. Going in with that Scattered Straw. I'm just gonna keep blending. This is also not a color palette that I reach for like super often. Scattered Straw is not a common yellow I use. Not by any measure. I usually am pulling in like a squeezed lemonade or mustard seed, but I knew mustard seed was gonna be too dark for me, at least if it was like the only yellow I was gonna use. And I thought that squeezed lemonade was too vibrant. I needed something a little bit more earthy, and that's why I ended up pulling it in. Pulling in the Scattered Straw, that is, because I feel like it's got a little bit more of that earthiness to it. Now, one thing also that I noticed when I'm using this Bristol Series Smooth cardstock paper is when I'm applying my ink to it, I can literally see the ink being moved around with the grain of the bristles. And I kind of have to go back in and blend a couple times, which I normally do, but I normally blend with oxides, I go from light to dark. But I'm finding with distress inks, when I do my backgrounds, I like to do it from dark to light. I feel like I find that I need to take the darker ink and push that darker ink into the lighter ink to get it to blend. And I think the reason for that is because distress inks don't really blend, they layer. Someone told me that once about oxide inks. I don't know how much I fully believe that, because I do think that oxide inks do have the capability to blend into one another. All right, we're working on this. Let's pull in that crackling campfire once more. Just kind of anywhere I might see a seam. And there we have it. All right, this looks pretty good. All right, so now what I can go ahead and do is I'm going to grab my Distress sprayer. I'm going to take the nozzle off. I'm just going to kind of splatter some water and let it sit for a minute or so. And it's going to start reacting with the ink, because what I love about distress inks is that they're water reactive. And that means when you get them wet, that water starts to pull the ink off the paper, and it gives you this really cool, almost like bleach effects, where you're going to get little bleach spots. So I like to let it sit. The longer you let the water sit, the more ink it's going to pull off the paper and the more close to white those spots are going to be. So I usually let it sit for about 20-30 seconds before pulling it up. Not that I'm sitting here with a timer, but that's what I like to think that I give myself to do it. And then I just take a rather clean towel, pull it up. All right, so this is the background that I want to work with. Now it's sticky. Why is it sticking to me? There we go. Awesome. We'll take this up for a second. I think I'm going to splatter this too. All right, let's see. Let's clean this up just a tad. And then let's do just a little bit of crackling campfire. It's going to be kind of subtle, but that's okay. We'll take the subtlety. All right, move this off to the side, do a little bit of cleanup. And let's go ahead and hit this with a heat gun just to help set everything into place. Try to dry it as best as I can. Now, I did tell you, and I'm going to save this for the end of our live, I did do a couple test runs of this color palette, and I also just decided to have some fun with them, and I'll show you what I did with my other backgrounds in a second. So now what I would like to do is I want to work on a little bit of stamping, and I have an idea, but we're going to see how well I can execute it. So what I would like to do is I've got my Misty out, and I'm going to line my image up like that. And I'm going to pull in the Wild West stamp set because I want to use the town die because I thought it would make for a fun background. I'm just trying to see. Do I want to do it? Yeah, I think I want to do it like that. Just make sure it's in the spot I want. Perfect. Now I'm going to take my embossing tool just to kind of add this to the paper, and I'm being a little liberal with it because I just want to make sure everything is nice and dry. I don't want my embossing powder to stick to anything that could be problematic. So I'm going to use some VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. So I'm going to take this out. And then I am going to do some heat embossing with some clear embossing powder. Uh-oh. This is not working the way that I wanted it to. So my background did not dry the way that I thought it did. Huh. So let's see what I can clean off. Well, see, that's what you get sometimes during a Facebook Live. You get to see me correct problems. So I guess no matter how liberal I went with that blending tool, it didn't really help. We're making progress. No, it could be worse. Okay, that's decent. Next, let's me put this away. And let's set it with our heat gun. All right, so now I'm gonna set this to the side for a second so it can dry. And I'm gonna clean off my stamp because I want to see if I can also incorporate the mountain, but I just need to kind of figure out how first. So I think what I'm gonna do is I am gonna grab some 4-inch mint tape. And we're just gonna put it like this. And then, what am I gonna stamp it in? It doesn't really matter, we'll do some distress ink. I just need it to be stamped in something that's not gonna smear. Unfortunately, the VersaFine is not gonna help me in that regard. And I also don't need that clean of an impression as well. All right. Well, that actually did really good. I'm impressed. All right, so gosh darn it. Put this town die away. It's not a die, it's a, gosh, it's a stamp. My goodness. All right. And then I'm going to cut out as best as I can. I know it's a little off camera, but I'm trying to cut out this mask of the town that I did from the mint tape. So I'm just trying to get that so that I can layer the mountain on top of it. We're almost there. We're like at the halfway point. It's not easy to do in the pinch. We're getting there. See, I'm usually pretty good at talking while fussy cutting. For whatever reason, this is not the case today. So now, let's see what I can do. Okay. That's pretty close. So now what I can do is put that down, put that somewhere. I don't know where I'm gonna put that. Right here. I'm thinking put this mountain in the background like this. How I want it. I want that mountain sticking straight up and down. I think that's about good. Okay. I'm gonna grab my embossing tool once again and take my VersaFine Clear Nocturne ink. Okay. We are making progress. One little area that's a problem. Okie dokie. So there is so much embossing powder. Oh my goodness. It is a pretty orange. Thank you, Sherry. And no worries that you're late, Christian. We're having just like a nice little cozy Facebook Live today. So you are right on time. So let me go ahead. I'm going to just do a little bit of quick cleaning. Truth is, I still haven't decided what sentiment I want to use for this card either, so gotta make a decision on that sometime soon. All right, let me go ahead and just wipe this powder off. And let's just kind of map things out. So my thought is he's gonna be like down here. And I want a sentiment. I think this is so cute. Like, just to have him on like this is what I would call a simple scene card, because we didn't do anything in terms of coloring up the buildings or the mountains. It's just kind of a silhouette. I think it works really nicely for this project. It's, I think, something you could do in a pinch too. But what do we want to do? I kind of love thanks, Buckaroo, and we could do this as like a thank you card. We could do that. Where would I put it though? So he's gonna be down here, maybe up here. I kind of like that. I do like that a lot. Okay, we're gonna do thanks, Buckaroo. So we're gonna put this back in the Misty. My Misty is getting a workout today. That is A-okay. That's what its job is. My poor paper is so warped. Oh my goodness. It's okay. That's funny. All right, so let me just make sure. It's actually pretty good. All right, so we're gonna go ahead, use my embossing tool one more time. VersaFine Clear Nocturne ink. And let's do some clear embossing powder. Tap off that excess. All right. Clean that real quick. Try to put these stamp sets away. Just kind of let this dry a little bit. Perfect. So So let's do a little bit of card building now. So I've got I have a piece of A2 mixed media black cardstock, super thick cardstock that I like to use just to kind of mat my cards. So we're gonna get a nice black mat around this. Let's use my Misty Precision Glue Press, which I just refilled before this live. It was in desperate need of a refill. I was squeezing every last drip of glue out of this poor thing. Let's see. I have to get up and get my block to hold everything down. Let's see. I have an oversized stamp block that I like to use to apply a nice even pressure to my panels. And if I usually use it when I need something set into place. So I'm gonna put this block on and leave it just for a little bit. I think that'll do the job. And then let's work on some foam tape. I'm gonna work with what I have on my desk already, which are some foam squares that are pre-cut. So let's see, how many do I need? Shouldn't need too many. Cut one more. So we're going to put him down there. All right, we are getting there. We're not quite there yet, though. So let's do a card base. I think I got embossing powder everywhere, y'all, because I just keep feeling it. Gonna push this all down. Hopefully it's doing nice. It does get everywhere. This hottie, oh my gosh, you're too funny, Christian. Oh, embossing with the fan on. Oh, no. I've done it too. I say it because I share the concern. No. Oh my goodness. Oh, I probably could have just nudged this frame. It's a little bit heavy with the black on top than on the bottom, but it's okay. Let's do a couple sequins. I am pulling in, this is the Tropical Breeze Sequin Mix. This is from Picket Fence Studios. I'm not using the pretty teal ones that are in here, but there's actually some browns and some golds and some oranges that I thought would be really pretty. So I've also been like watching different like reels of card making recently, and people just like drop sequins on top, and I'm like, do you really just let them fall? And that's like, is that where you put them? Because I sit here and I stress over where my sequins go, y'all. Do you just like, can you really just drop them and where they go, they go? I don't know. It sounds like a nice concept. Are we going to do it today? No, because I'm going to get irritated. Because I know what's going to happen is I'm going to do it. I'm going to be like, y'all, we're going to move this, we're going to move that. Move them all. What else? Just sitting here going through my little thing. Which ones I want to put next? There we go. Do I want them all over there? Maybe. See, I get like finicky with them. I don't know where to put them. I think that'll work. That'll do. Y'all, I tell you. Trying to gently use this picker. Here we go. All right, let me put my sequins away before they drive me up a wall. But we are all done with today's card, y'all. So we'll go over the products that we use to put everything together. And I'll make sure I get this uploaded to my YouTube channel this weekend. So we use the Kindred Posse stamp set for the image and the sentiment for this card. We colored up our image with Copic markers, and then for our background, we blended up our background first with Distress ink. So we did some Distress ink blending ombre tips, and we stamped our background on top of it. We first stamped out the sort of village towns, what would you call them? Town buildings? We'll go with that. Town buildings from the Wild West stamp set, and then we masked them off and put the stamp of the mountain to go in the background, and we heat embossed both layers. Finished off the card with some pretty sequins that color coordinate with everything, and there you have it. So let's see if I missed any last comments. Oh, Leanne, you're so sweet. Thank you so much. And see, Christian, you over... I know I'm not the only one with the sequins. I love the concept of being able to just drop them, but, like, I just don't feel like it's gonna work for me. I also don't know if it's just, like, a video effect to make people, like, not have to show, like, the amount of time they put into putting, like, each individual sequin in place. So who knows? But anyways, thank you all so very much for stopping by. My next Facebook Live, if the calendar is if I'm remembering the calendar correctly, the next live is not this upcoming Tuesday, but the following Tuesday. I think it's the 24th. And I'll look forward to seeing you then. So thank you all so very much. Have a great rest of your Saturday, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.